Hey everybody, welcome to the morning market briefing. It's Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. Quick announcement. No show tomorrow.
Yep.
The market is closed. We will not be doing the call. It would be a great day if you have not listened to the Jacob's Ladder podcast. Go check it out. I thought yesterday's event was awesome. It was great to hear from Amy Odell in person. I was not here when we recorded the podcast, but great story. Really appreciate all the clients and friends of the firm that showed up. I thought it went really well. It was really exciting. It is not too late to jump on the campaign. We are currently kind of in the search process to figure out who we want to promote next. We'd like to do some kind of organization that's important to us and important to people in the firm every quarter or so. So if you know of something, feel free to let us know, and we'd be happy to check it out. And maybe it aligns with what we're looking at. We'd be happy to promote them. But in the meantime, go to thejacobsladdergroup.org. Learn more, get involved, and you can donate even at the top. So thanks again for Jacob's Ladder. Tom, thanks for setting that up. Ben, thanks for jumping in on the interview. Natalie, who's not on the call. Natalie on the call would be a wild morning, but Natalie not on the call. Thanks for organizing the event.
National anthem on
Yeah.
It's a major holiday.
We should do that. But again, thanks just to everybody who's involved. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really cool event. Yesterday we did hear from Trump. I did not watch it live. I listened to it this morning. Before we get into any of the specifics, I will say tonally, he seems very tired. I thought it was beyond on message, which you get tight Trump very rarely, but it sounded a little raspy, sounded a little hoarse, seemed fatigued. I don't know that I left knowing anything new. Those were my high-level observations. And I don't know that I was looking to know more that was new. I think anything new would have been truly breaking news. Those were my initial observations. I don't know if you guys watched it or if you had initial.
Yeah, I watched it. After it was done, I watched it on YouTube probably an hour after it actually went live. He kind of circled around a lot of things that we've talked about as being the exit strategy, which is essentially bomb them to smithereens, and then the Strait is everybody else's problem because it doesn't really affect us as much as you think. We produce a ton of oil. China, Japan, very levered to the Strait of Hormuz, and Europe less so, but certainly still needing that to be open, and that if they couldn't open it, that it would actually be more of their problem. And if they don't have a deal, we'll blow up their oil too, and then nobody's got a problem because there is no oil. So there's a lot. It seems like he's really doubling down, and this is I'm very vocal about bringing bullies back. I think that bullying creates character and keeps people in line, and that's why we have too much drift on who can't dress up like a dog and parade around the streets. But this is the ultimate bully move, which is essentially to say, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to pull your pants down in front of everybody, and then I'm just going to go home.
I will say, and then I want to hear from you, the speech last night especially, I felt like the pretty clear calling out of European allies. It harkened back, I thought, a lot to the speech that Rubio gave at the Munich Defense Conference. This was the application of that policy.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's interesting you bring up he seemed a little bit tired. More significantly tired. I didn't pick up on that. I don't know why. Maybe I just kind of assume when he's not speaking with other people, like I feel like he is very low energy.
Yeah. Just
in general.
In fairness, I was listening to him and I was very tired, so it could also be that. I might need to give it a re-listen.
Yes.
But I do think that the bigger points that both of you have mentioned are true, mainly, especially as it relates to markets. I don't think there was anything new that we didn't really know, whether it's a reiteration of what Rubio's already said. It's a reiteration of what Trump has said in terms of the 2 to 3 weeks. I think there's been a lot of concern about him flip-flopping. I think that there has not been really that much of flip-flopping on the 2 to 3 week time frame over the last 7 days or so. And I think that the market is – I think that people are writing the headlines after the market has already moved. And I think that that's what's driving things. And right now, I think that you're seeing, if there is some, concern in the markets or some unease or uncertainty, I think what it is you've got 35 countries hopping on a Zoom call today trying to figure out how to open the Strait of Hormuz. It's led by the UK. You have French President Macron saying it's not going to happen militarily.
White flag.
Yeah, we've got to cooperate with Iran on it. And I think that, that's the problem with these big coalitions of, hey, let's do things in different phases. They said the first phase, what did they say was the first phase? I thought I wrote it down. I can't see it on the notes yet. But essentially, there's a first phase is to ensure that the waterway is free of mines. And the second phase is to protect tankers crossing the area.
That's pretty groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah.
So they're just, it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere fast. We've seen this with the EU. We've seen this with NATO. These big organizations with big countries and big, different, disparate political groups can't get things done as quickly. And that's the nature of what we see in our democracy. The executive branch can get things done a lot faster than Congress, and that's by design. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when you have to operate quickly because you have kind of a ticking time bomb with the access to oil, it really impedes progress on actually making decisions.
I mean, there's also conflicting makeups of these groups. And we covered the French elections on this call, which is that Macron was dead in the water. Marine Le Pen was going to be president of France. And then Macron got a coalition where he paired up with smaller, subgroups that were mostly Islamist. And then bingo bongo, you've got a majority. But now when it comes time to say, hey, we need to drop the hammer on these folks are us. And the UK's got that same problem. And
at the same time where, by the way, investment bankers haven't been working this week in the office in France because there was just an Iranian bomb threat at Bank of America's quarter.
And if you look at their response is to surveil the building and not maybe look for who is going to do it. They're just going to make sure they've got cameras on when the bomb goes off. And that's the thing is, like, if you look back at how did Iran become what it is today? Well, you had a king, and then you had a group of communists who wanted communism, and you had a group of Islamists who wanted Islam, and they paired up together. But let me ask you this. Where are those communists now? They're nowhere. And if
New
you look
York
at
City.
and you look at France, like, yeah. But you look at France, like, that's the way it's going. You look at the UK, that's the way it's going. You look at New York City, that's the way it's going. And so that's where you get these conflicts where it's like, well, we'd certainly like to do something about this, but we don't want to make anybody angry because they might put a bomb at the Goldman Sachs headquarters in Paris. I mean, that's the playbook, and that playbook is very effective, and it's European allies. I don't know that they are the allies. Who are they allied with? And that's, I mean, it's people don't like that kind of talk, but I think that's a very stark reality in the year 2026 is these people are not necessarily our allies anymore because the people who are in power are not ideologically similar to the United States.
And I think the Europeans would say, well, the U.S. removed itself as an ally first, and the U.S. would say, no, it was the other way around. I think that's just kind of where it is. I do think with respect to the Strait, Iran is now saying...
I love their ranking system. Out of just raw, pure curiosity, Iran is ranking countries in terms of friendliness from 1 to 5. I would love that to get leaked. It would just be so, like, this is a 3-star ally.
I mean, imagine if people just did that with, like, friends. Like,
it's like the old MySpace where you had your top 8 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a really interesting tweet that I was thinking about. If you look at who openly, like, the types of countries that openly say America's the worst, Europe is at the top of the list. You know who's at the bottom of the list? Japan. Now, which of those countries have we dropped nuclear bombs on?
Yeah.
I mean, but like we invaded France to liberate them from Germany, and they hate us. They're very open about it. I mean, it's a common stereotype that French people hate Americans. My bad. But you know who doesn't openly talk smack about Americans? Japanese.
It's
pretty wild, Like, so who's really your ally? Like, who have you, like, that's, maybe Iran's going to be our best friend soon. I don't know. But that's, like, but that's a really interesting thought process. Be like, why do these people hate us so much? Is because we dunked all over them and we helped them. And now they're resentful. And then we went on to create the iPhone and they're resentful. And we went on to have this beautiful freedom, and they're
World
resentful.
the American Computing Museum right here in Roswell, Georgia.
And you know what? Japan's done nothing but execute since then. They've got very limited natural resources. They've got a huge population.
It's an incredibly clean country.
Yeah, and what do? They grind, man. The working man in Japan, I mean, they're known for their working culture. They just absolutely grind. And I mean, I think that's more admirable than being like, we got to go on strike every 5 minutes because the best job you can have is working for the train in France, because you get 70% of your pay starting at age 35 until you die. Like, I'm not about that life, man. So people are either going to really like or really dislike this call, but
Hey,
it's Thursday morning, it's time to get wild.
Super producer. It's basically Friday, really.
Yeah.
Like everybody thought it was going to be tomorrow day today, but it's actually Friday.
Yeah. So we got to fit 2 calls worth of aggressive rants into one.
I'm loving it,
podcast.
and I've got like a nugget that I'm like sitting on. I want been to finish on the Strait, but I've got a nugget that I'm really excited to share because I feel like it's right up both of your alleys.
So we've got 1 to 5 rankings, and Iran is charging different tankers different rates based on how friendly their country is. And what they're going to do is it starts immediately at $1 is kind of the initial, is the cheapest, $1 per barrel. And
Plot twist, just bring through bigger barrels.
Most of these very large crude carriers, VLCCs, carry about 2 million barrels. And then what happens, so you'll do your little negotiation, say, okay, we'll do $1.50 per barrel. Okay, that'll be $3 million. Wire the money either with yuan or stablecoin. Those are the only 2 ways they can
Please do stablecoin.
Because
like they're going to bankrupt themselves.
And then so that's what they're going to do. And then and then what happens is once the toll is paid, the IRGC issues a secret password.
Ooh.
And route instructions. So you get like a treasure map of how to get through the Strait. And then an escort boat comes out to escort it through the passage, and then collect the fee, and then you're free. And so this will raise a lot of money. And the articles that I was reading, I mean, this is just, kind of gets to how things are written these days. But Bloomberg says the quote legal basis for Iran's imposition of a toll isn't clear. I think I would say there is no legal base, and this is extortion. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. International waters. Yeah.
The threat of blowing up a ship, unless you pay me money, is extortion.
Piracy, even.
Yeah.
But
we've got to lean into
basis
the
is
stablecoin thing. I just pulled up like recent stablecoin collapses. It'd be very funny for them to get a fake asset that is supposed to anchor to the U.S. dollar, but actually just falls apart.
Well, that would be, if you just we just started funneling them all the bad stable coins. They'd be bankrupt so fast.
Notably, though, there's even the extorters and the pirates are not asking for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Google said that it can basically crack Bitcoin.
I saw that.
It wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, and then what?
I want to do that.
Like that's what happens as quantum computing.
We'll never be able to figure out these codes.
It's like, oh, what do you know?
I might do that as my afternoon project today.
We uncrypted the crypto.
Yeah. So my nugget I've been sitting on here, I heard this criticism of Trump yesterday, and I really liked it because I was like, this is perfect for the call. I'm going to start with, either of you can answer, but why should he stop saying that we decimated their nuclear activities?
I mean, I did listen to a podcast that was interesting. I don't know if anybody ever listens to Trigonometry, but a couple of weird British guys, one who's severe and the other who's like a weird doof. Shout out Francis. But they had a guy on that basically said that we probably didn't decimate their nuclear facilities and that there's plenty of material floating around that could be used to do all kinds of stuff.
Wrong.
No, well, there you go.
So the reason you should stop saying it is that the prefix deci literally means by 1/10. So if you say you decimated something, you say I took 10% of it away.
Really?
So, and I looked it up.
That does make sense. I've never thought about the etymology of
And
the
he
word
was
decimate.
and he was like, sometimes Trump uses obliterate, like that means what he thinks it means, but decimating literally means like I took 10% away. So there you go. And I was like, man, let's get into some phonics on the morning call. It's right up our alley.
Yeah, decimation refers to a Roman military punishment where every 10th man was killed.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not
So
know that.
Dessa
That's a
is
great-
1/10. Deca is 10 times. Decamating is what Hicks does on the weekend. ISM manufacturing just kind of ripping here.
Yeah, definitely. It's the highest since August 2022. Still not, I mean, an extraordinary number, but it's going back 4 years at this point. That's really impressive. It fits with a lot of the regional Fed surveys. It's something that we kind of suspected was going to happen. So it's not really a surprise to us, but it just supports that the economy was strong in Q1 on the manufacturing side, even until and actually accelerating into March. With the war, this survey I was looking at, the survey is actually conducted over the course of the entire month, but most of the results come in the last week, so it's really back end loaded. So this is not a case of, well, we didn't know about the war, things really deteriorated since then, and we had a more positive than expected consumer confidence number the other day as well. So the economy is still moving ahead pretty nicely, in spite of all of these consternations with the war. Obviously, rates continue to be front and center. We will get Fed meeting minutes next week. And we get the jobs number tomorrow, which will be really interesting. I do not think it'll be a good Friday for jobs, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, we'll get continuing data. Interesting. I feel like people will be watching ExxonMobil earnings more than normal next week. I really don't have a lean on how that's going to go, but I feel like any excess earnings that are going to be extrapolated into a political problem for the Trump administration.
It's crazy. It's the second day of the month, and
they're ready to roll.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't think it's because they have bad numbers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We'll get March CPI as well.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be. I couldn't find an estimate on that yet. I would anticipate it's going to run hot and not in a good way. The last reading was 2.4% on the headline. I'm thinking we could post a 3% plus number based on the numbers that I was seeing in terms of the gasoline price moving things. I think that's going to really significantly change, and that'll be next Friday.
I mean, notably, I don't know if this is a good read through or not. We did get the trade balance today, and imports month over month, 4.3% increase. And notably, it was negative last month and has been negative for, I mean, over a year now, I feel like. And then exports also at 4.2. So we're balanced in terms of the increase, but we did see, basically a 4% increase in cost of imports and exports month over month.
In terms of cost or in terms of total amount?
I believe that's cost. And the total amount we came in, trade balance, the expectation was a deficit of $60 billion. We came in at 57, which is pretty much in line where we were last month.
I think you also have, after the IEEPA tariffs were shot down, I think that a lot of companies kind of trying to import a little bit more right now, maybe. I don't know. But then I think you also have the factor of things really picking up, and we've seen tightness in the flatbed markets. We've seen tightness in dry van on the trucking side, and I think that that's all starting to show up in the numbers, which makes for a really interesting Q1 earnings season in a couple weeks.
We also got the Challenger jobs cut year over year number, which for a while there was a sudden and very valuable piece of information that no one's talked about in 6 months. But you might notice that it's different, down 78% year over year, the Challenger's job cuts. And that's off a prior reading of down 71.9%. So it's weird that people don't talk about that anymore because they were like, oh my gosh, the Challenger job cuts went up to 100% year over year. And it's like, all right, well, first of all, I'd never heard of that. And second of all, it seems to be almost ridiculously low numbers every single time. So it's weird that one has fallen off the vine as something that people have pointed to, but it doesn't really line up with any information that makes any sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben, I think you're solo Monday.
Nice. Maybe I
won't be
can
here.
bring in TK.
Yeah, the boys will
Yeah.
be
Goofing
the
around.
most special place on earth.
Yep.
Augusta National Golf Club
So
will be among the patrons.
yeah, share some prayers for us. It's gonna be a tough day. Can't wait. All right, talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.